Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, let's explore together how to approach one of the most challenging yet hopeful topics in mental health. Recovering from periods when our emotional well-being feels like it's deteriorating or breaking down. Perhaps you feel like your mental health has been slowly slipping away, leaving you wondering if you'll ever feel like yourself again. Maybe you've experienced periods where your emotional resilience seems depleted, where things that used to bring you joy feel distant, or where you question whether recovery is even possible. If you're feeling this way, please know that you're not alone, and what you're experiencing is far more common than many people realize. Recent groundbreaking neuroscience research has revealed something truly remarkable. What feels like permanent mental damage is actually your brain's protective response, and it can be completely reversed through targeted neuroplasticity interventions. Today, we'll explore what the latest scientific studies tell us about mental health recovery, and we'll learn evidence-based approaches that have helped thousands of people rebuild their emotional well-being from the ground up. The scientific community has made extraordinary discoveries about what happens in our brains during periods of mental health decline, and more importantly, they've identified exactly how our brains can heal and recover. Let me share some of the most important recent findings with you. Latest research demonstrates that mental health deterioration involves what scientists call disrupted neuroplasticity in specific brain regions, particularly the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory and emotional regulation, the prefrontal cortex, which governs executive function and decision-making, and the limbic system, which processes emotions. A research institution's groundbreaking studies reveal that chronic stress suppresses neuroplasticity through elevated cortisol levels. These stress hormones decrease what's called dendritic branching in pyramidal cells and inhibit adult neurogenesis, which is the brain's ability to create new neurons. However, here's the crucial discovery. These changes are completely reversible. Authoritative studies using advanced brain imaging technology prove that conditions like depression cause measurable alterations in gray and white matter structure in the frontal lobe, hippocampus, temporal lobe, thalamus, striatum, and amygdala. Multiple universities' research reveals that what appears to be permanent damage is actually something called maladaptive plasticity, which refers to neural patterns that have adapted to stress but can be reprogrammed through corrective neuroplasticity interventions. What this means is that your brain hasn't been permanently damaged by difficult experiences. Instead, it has adapted in ways that were meant to be protective but may no longer be serving you well. The remarkable news is that these adaptations can be changed. Scientific studies demonstrate that treatment approaches including environmental enrichment, regular exercise, engaging in learning experiences, and targeted therapeutic interventions significantly increase neurogenesis and synaptic plasticity. A university research team discovered that increased synaptic serotonin triggers intracellular mechanisms that enhance neural plasticity, with treatments showing measurable increases in brain-derived neurotrophic factor levels within just a few weeks. Meta-analyses, which are studies that combine the results of multiple research projects, reveal that neuroplasticity enhancement therapies produce rapid and lasting changes in brain structure and function. Recent studies on advanced treatments show that approaches targeting plasticity-enhancing effects create simultaneous reversals of multiple plasticity-related deficits across different levels of brain analysis, from molecular changes all the way up to network-wide improvements. An international research group's longitudinal studies, which follow people over extended periods of time, found that the brain's remarkable capacity for adaptation means that even severe mental health deterioration can be reversed through targeted interventions. Research demonstrates that factors previously thought to be purely genetic actually interact strongly with environmental and therapeutic influences, creating tremendous opportunities for profound recovery. Perhaps most encouragingly, renowned researchers have discovered that the brain, once considered fixed and stable after a certain age, is now understood as dynamic, flexible, and adaptive throughout our entire lives. Advanced neuroscience reveals that by harnessing what's called corrective neuroplasticity, it's possible to reprogram maladaptive behaviors and neural patterns, producing long-lasting recovery from mental health deterioration. Now that we understand what the science tells us about recovery, let's explore some practical approaches that research suggests might be helpful. Please remember that these are evidence-based suggestions for your consideration, and it's always wise to work with qualified professionals when addressing mental health concerns. The first approach involves neuroplasticity activation through movement. Research shows that engaging in daily aerobic exercise for 30 to 45 minutes is one of the most powerful neuroplasticity enhancers available to us. Exercise increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor by up to 300%, promoting new neural growth specifically in the hippocampus, which is crucial for emotional regulation and memory formation. Why is this method effective? When we exercise, our bodies produce increased levels of growth factors that literally fertilize our brain cells, helping them form new connections and repair damaged pathways. The increased blood flow during exercise also delivers oxygen and nutrients to brain regions that may have been compromised by stress. If you're experiencing low energy, which is common during mental health challenges, you might start with 15-minute walks and gradually build intensity as you feel able. This activates what researchers call endogenous repair mechanisms that reverse stress-induced brain changes. The second approach focuses on cognitive neuroplasticity training through novel learning. This involves practicing new learning activities daily to stimulate neural growth and connection formation. You might consider learning a new language, taking up a musical instrument, or developing a complex skill that challenges multiple brain regions simultaneously. Why does this work? Novel learning creates new neural pathways while strengthening existing ones, directly counteracting the neural deterioration that can be caused by chronic stress and emotional difficulties. When we engage in challenging learning, our brains produce growth factors and form new synaptic connections, essentially building resilience and cognitive flexibility. The third approach involves stress response system regulation through evidence-based techniques that specifically target cortisol regulation. You might implement practices like deep breathing exercises for 10 minutes twice daily, focusing on extending your exhale longer than your inhale to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This method is effective because it reduces cortisol production, which allows damaged neural structures to begin their natural repair processes. When our stress response system is chronically activated, it inhibits the brain's ability to heal and regenerate. By consciously activating our relaxation response, we create the optimal internal environment for neural recovery. The fourth approach emphasizes social connection neuroplasticity. This involves engaging in meaningful social interactions that activate oxytocin and dopamine systems essential for neural repair. You might schedule regular face-to-face conversations with supportive people, even if they're brief initially. Social connection is effective because it triggers the release of growth factors that promote synaptic plasticity and emotional regulation network recovery. Humans are inherently social beings, and isolation can compound mental health difficulties by depriving our brains of the neurochemical benefits of positive social interaction. The fifth approach focuses on sleep optimization for neural repair. This involves prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, during which the brain's glymphatic system clears metabolic waste and consolidates neural repairs. You might establish consistent sleep-wake times, create a dark, cool sleeping environment, and avoid screens for 2 hours before bed. Sleep is when neuroplasticity changes become permanent and new neural connections strengthen. During deep sleep, our brains essentially clean house, removing toxins and consolidating the positive changes we've made during waking hours. The sixth approach involves mindfulness-based neuroplasticity through daily meditation practice. You might practice mindfulness meditation for 20 to 30 minutes daily to promote structural brain changes in areas that may have been impacted by stress. This involves focusing on breath awareness while observing thoughts without judgment. Research shows this practice increases gray matter density in the hippocampus while reducing amygdala reactivity, directly reversing stress-induced brain changes. Mindfulness essentially teaches our brains to respond rather than react, creating space between stimulus and response that allows for more adaptive choices. Some optimization tips for these approaches include combining multiple methods for synergistic neuroplasticity effects, tracking daily practices to ensure consistency since neuroplasticity requires regular stimulation, starting with small achievable goals to build success momentum, and being patient since significant brain changes typically occur within 6 to 12 weeks of consistent practice. For preventing common difficulties, remember to avoid perfectionism that can increase stress and inhibit healing. Don't attempt all techniques simultaneously but begin with 1 to 2 approaches and gradually add others. And remember that setbacks are normal parts of the healing process, not signs of failure. Let me summarize the key points we've discussed today, as these will also appear on your screen for easy reference. First, mental health deterioration reflects reversible brain changes, not permanent damage. Understanding this fundamental truth can provide hope during difficult periods. Second, neuroplasticity can reprogram maladaptive neural patterns completely. Your brain has an extraordinary capacity for positive change throughout your life. Third, exercise increases brain repair factors by up to 300%. Physical movement is one of the most powerful tools available for neural recovery. Fourth, novel learning creates new neural pathways that can bypass damaged areas. Challenging your brain with new skills builds resilience and cognitive flexibility. Fifth, social connection triggers essential growth factors for brain healing. Meaningful relationships provide neurochemical benefits that support recovery. Sixth, sleep optimization allows permanent consolidation of neural repairs. Quality rest is when your brain implements and solidifies positive changes. Your brain's current struggles aren't permanent limitations or character flaws. They're temporary patterns that are waiting for transformation through evidence-based neuroplasticity interventions. The research we've discussed today shows that recovery isn't just possible, it's probable when we apply consistent, science-backed approaches. Starting today, every evidence-based action you take literally rebuilds your brain's capacity for joy, resilience, and mental clarity. Mental health recovery isn't about returning to who you were before difficulties began. It's about becoming stronger, more resilient, and more capable than you may have ever imagined possible. You have remarkable strength within you, and your brain has an extraordinary capacity for healing and renewal. With patience, consistency, and the right approaches, you can rebuild your mental health from the ground up. If today's discussion provided any support or hope, please consider hitting the like button. If you'd like to continue learning about evidence-based approaches to mental health and recovery, we'd be honored to have you subscribe to our channel. Remember that you deserve compassion, especially from yourself, during this healing journey. Thank you for listening until the end today, and we'll see you in the next video.